About to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Harriet Murphy is suing her neighbors, Horatio and Heather Farron, for damage to her driveway caused by a tree in their front yard.
Order. All rise. That's case number 281 on the calendar, the matter of Murphy versus Farran.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Ms. Murphy, it is your claim that a tree from the defendant's property caused damage to your driveway, and you want them to be responsible for repairing the driveway, which is going to cost you $3,500. When, Mr. Farran, did you and your family move into your home? In what year?
2008.
And how long have you lived there?
Since 2001.
And how long has the offending tree been there?
The tree was there when I moved in.
It's been there for at least 15 years.
Probably so.
And was it a large tree when you moved in?
I didn't notice the tree, the size of the tree, but it was there. As you know, my property had to be inspected before I purchased it, and there was no damage to the driveway.
To the driveway, and that was in 2001?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have photographs of the damage to the driveway?
Yes, I do have some photographs.
I'd like to take a look at them.
Take those up. In Your Honor, I have a piece of the driveway here so that you can see how thick it is.
Do you have a picture of the tree?
We have a picture of the tree.
I'd like to see a picture of the tree, where it was.
Do you want the pictures of us removing it?
I can take a look at you removing it. I want to see where it is in relation to the cracks in the driveway.
That's the tree, and the rest is removing it.
In what month and year did you notify the defendants that the tree that was on their property, the roots, were causing trouble to your driveway?
Between 2013 and 14, I mentioned to Mr. Farran that the roots of the tree was beginning to damage my property.
Do you remember that conversation, Mr. Farran?
I do.
Tell me about that conversation.
It was December 26, 2014, and we had a conversation. She said that the tree is causing damage to her driveway, and I told her that, you know, we'll remove our septic system, so we want to remove that tree so it doesn't continue to damage our septic system.
So it was just a few months ago that you first mentioned it to him, in December of 2014. Is that when the driveway started to buckle?
No, it was after the driveway started to buckle that I mentioned to him that you can see what is happening to my property. And, of course, he said to me that what happens on your property, you're responsible, and what happens on my property, since your limbs are growing on my property, I'm responsible.
You said the same thing, Mr. Farran, in your answer, but you actually have the ability, if the plaintiff's tree is coming over onto your property and causing damage to your property, you have the right to cut down those offending branches. You understand that?
I do, but I contacted my insurance.
That's why we feel she should be responsible to cut the roots if they're on her side of the property.
Right, it seems like once it grows over there, but, you know, that she can take care of stuff that grows over on her property.
No, because she doesn't have the ability, actually. If the roots were cut, the tree would die.
Your Honor?
Yes.
We also feel we've got some pictures of our cul-de-sac, our street going up into her driveway. The homes are very old and they sit on a slope. So we feel that there's been cracks for many, many years that have been possibly been there before the tree did.
Ultimately, our main part of our defense is that that tree is a very old tree, and that's been damaging that driveway a lot longer than we've lived on the property.
And we feel that when we came into a financial situation where we could afford to do it, is when she decided to ask us to fix the driveway.
No, within a relatively short period of time of being notified, you took down the tree.
Right.
Your Honor.
Yes.
May I say this?
Yeah.
That when he cut the tree, it did not remove the damage. And plus, since he knew that his septic tank was being affected, that meant the roots were coming into where his septic tank was located, and that was going to be a very dangerous situation because it would cost quite a bit of money to repair a septic tank where the roots have caused a problem. So,
Ms. Murphy, this is my point to you. My point to you is you put him on notice.
Yes.
December of 2014,
Yeah.
that unless he removed the offending tree, you were going to hold him responsible. He responded to that by taking down the tree.
But he did not grind the roots, do the job of cutting his tree down, and they never grind the roots from that tree, which meant that those roots could continue to make damage to my property.
Just a second. We don't even know whether that's true, that the roots of his tree caused the damage to your driveway. Unless you have an expert here, which you don't. I assume you're not a tree expert?
No, ma'am.
Right. Because this kind of damage to your driveway didn't happen overnight. It happened over a course of years, whether it was from tree roots or age.
Well, the estimates that I got were from people who looked at the damage, and they concluded that they were going to have to remove the roots and the pavement.
They may have to.
Yeah.
They may have to. The issue is he responsible for that? You put him on notice that there was an offending condition. They removed the offending condition. They removed the tree. In what month did you remove the tree?
April 8th.
Within a couple of months of you notifying them, they removed the tree.
But removing the tree did not do anything to the damage that had already been made by the tree. The roots of their tree had caused the damage to my property, and that case law states that whenever your roots in Texas invades the property of another, those roots that come into the other property, because that person has an absolute right to enjoy their property without having the damage that had occurred on my property.
Do you agree with Miss Murphy that the roots of your tree were the cause of the disruption in her driveway?
I can't make that determination because I'm not an arborist. I don't know. I mean, I do know that...
We believe there's cracks from age, just in general, throughout the whole cul-de-sac, so that there was most likely cracks way before the tree even started to...
But regardless, I think
on her
it's been,
property.
even if... Let's say that it was.
No, I don't want to say that it is.
Okay.
All I want to ask you is, she's not an arborist, nor is she a contractor.
Right.
And I've looked at the photographs of the surrounding concrete in the area, and there are cracks. Where is this? Miss Murphy, would you show this to Miss Murphy?
This is a part of my driveway, a part of where the cracks were.
That's actually across the street from our house.
That's not your driveway.
This doesn't even look like my driveway.
No, that's
It's not. It's across the street from us.
It's somebody else's driveway.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're saying.
That's her sidewalk.
In front of her house, yes.
This is the walkway into my house.
Not near the tree.
Driveway. Not the tree or the driveway.
And that's cracked.
No, that's the
And what
partition between the cement
that?
on my walk,
That's
where
Coach.
it was into parts.
Coach's house.
That's the house across the street.
Now, this looks like some of the cracks that are in my driveway here, but I'm not sure. But it looks like some of the cracks that are in the driveway.
Where is that?
The house across the street from her.
That's a house across the street. And has same kind of cracks.
Why would they have evidence of that?
Well, for this reason,
Yeah.
Ms. Murphy. Because it is possible that the roots of their tree caused damage to your driveway.
Yes, it did.
It's possible.
It's possible.
But this is not your house, and it has the same kind of damage.
But not to the point where those people in that neighborhood do not have problems where they are not parking into those driveways, because as you can see, that you do not have the eruption that has taken place that cracks up like this in their driveway.
Do you understand what I said? I said your neighbor across the street has the same cracks in their driveway that you do.
I don't even know whether that's the neighbor, that picture.
Absolutely.
Because that's not the driveway of the neighbor across the street from me.
It's Coach Davis's driveway.
Would you show this to the plaintiff, please?
The only way for me to recognize this is to see the house that is located across the street from me to know whether that would be that person's driveway, and they did not do that. They did not give you a picture of that house across the street. That is a beautiful house that's well kept.
It's a red brick house. Is that the red brick house? There's a red... The house is there. It's a red brick house.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Where were you moving to?
I explained to her that I'd be moving in with my boyfriend.
You had given notice that you were moving out.
That's correct.
You said she doesn't remember because she drinks. When did you give her notice?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Harriet Murphy says neighbors Horatio and Heather Farron owe for damage to her driveway caused by a tree in their yard. The defendants claim Harriet can't prove it was their tree that caused the damage.
Now, what I'm suggesting to you, neighborhood, and there are cracks in this driveway similar to the ones that are in your driveway.
But, Your Honor, the fact that those roots were causing property to his septic tank, which he has already testified to, it is absolute that those were the roots from that same tree that was causing the property to my driveway.
How do I know that?
Well, I was standing where the tree was, and that was right on the edge of the line of my property. I think you have a picture of that. I'm standing where the tree was located, and it was right on the very line of my property.
And it was there when you moved in?
It was not there in 2001.
The tree was there. You told me that the tree was there.
But the damage had not occurred at that time.
Okay.
And in fact, I have an email from him in which he said that I even moved in after him. And I have proof of that, and that damage was there at that time. So I don't understand. I can show you the evidence of the email in which he said
he testified before me today that he and his wife moved in 2008. You testified that you moved into your house in 2001.
I could have been mistaken about when...
And that the damage was there when he moved in.
I've been in and around that house for a long time, so, you know...
Okay. I don't think you've proved your case, Miss Murphy. Your case is dismissed. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I hope that we can get past this. I really care about Miss Murphy. And
Chris and I have been friends over the years.
I've known her for a while, and I knew her husband. And
in fact, I even hired him as a contractor to do work at my house.
I just want to get past this so we can...
I am so devastated.
You know, be friends again.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cabanzo versus McConnell. Step forward, please.
Rhoda Cabanzo is suing her former roommate, Suzette McConnell, for unpaid rent and an electric bill.
Ms. Cabanzo, the defendant was your roommate, according to you, for about a year.
Yes, yeah.
And she moved out, according to you, owing you rent.
Yes.
And a small electric bill. Ms. McConnell says she wasn't there and that you have some of her property that you refused to allow her to get that she left in the apartment, and she has a counterclaim. So I'm going to start with her, if that's okay with you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There wasn't a fire, there wasn't a flood, there weren't locusts, there weren't vermin. 3 weeks before, you knew you were moving out with your boyfriend. What do you mean you just took what you could carry? That's ridiculous.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rhoda Cabanzo says her former roommate, Suzette McConnell, owes for 1 month's rent and an electric bill. Suzette is countersuing for the return of her belongings.
Now, when, Miss McConnell, did you move in?
I moved in July of 2014.
And what did you move in with?
I moved in with a bedroom set. I moved in with a TV.
Bedroom set?
Yes, ma'am.
What's in a bedroom set?
I had a headboard, a footboard, 2 mattresses.
A bed?
A bed.
Bedroom set is a chest of drawers, 2 night tables, a bed. You moved in with a bed.
And a night. I had 2 nightstands. I had television. I had a table. I had a chase lounge at the footboard.
Table.
I had trees. I had paintings. I had a lot of furniture in a very small space.
Great. And when did you move out?
I moved out the following July of...
July what?
I'm sorry, it was actually July 1st, so I stayed through
7/1.
June. Yes.
And did you pay June's rent?
I did.
Assume from reading your answer that you had given the plaintiff notice that you were moving out.
That's correct.
You said she doesn't remember because she drinks, but you had given her notice. When did you give her notice?
I was house sitting 2 weeks prior to that for my boss, and when I came back, I told her then she knows things have not been...
Okay. What date did you give her notice?
It was the second week of June in 2015.
So somewhere around June 10th.
Correct.
You gave her notice, and where were you moving to?
I explained to her that I'd be moving in with my boyfriend.
And you had discussed that with your boyfriend?
Correct.
So that was all set. When you moved out on July 1st, did you take everything that you had moved in with? The bedroom set, the bed, 2 nightstands, a table, trees, paintings, and everything else?
I took everything that I could carry.
That's too bad. That comes under the category of when you move out, you move out. This wasn't something that came upon in a moment. There wasn't a fire, there wasn't a flood, there weren't locusts, there weren't vermin. June 10th. 3 weeks before, you knew you were moving out with your boyfriend. What do you mean you just took what you could carry? That's ridiculous. I mean, is there an explanation of that?
I had to have moving help.
Then you get it. You had 3 weeks' notice, according to you. See why?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You knew you were going. You moved out. You didn't pay rent in July, right?
No, I did not.
But your stuff was there. Then you're there. Your junk is there, you're there. So you owe her for July's rent. How much was her rent?
$500.
Now, did she pay the utility bill, the electric bill, for the month of May?
Yes, she did.
In the month of June?
Yes.
In the month of July?
Yes.
So she paid July's?
Yes.
When?
She gave me $100 before that because I mentioned to her that she was paying behind. I was always carrying her to pay forward. So she gave me that money.
Fine. So she owes you $500 for rent for July?
For July, yes.
Okay. Great. Now, do you still have any of her stuff in your apartment?
Yes, I do.
You do? What do you have?
I have a chair, a lounge chair she has, and some of her clothing she left, and her flowers. They are outside in the balcony. And the TV, I still have it. Some of it, I put it around my friend's houses so that I could rent the place.
Do you want any of the stuff that she's just mentioned?
The clothing?
Any of the
Yes.
things that she's just mentioned?
Yes.
Arrange to go and pick the things up. However, you have to pay her August, September, and October. So it's going to cost you money. She didn't sue for that. She sued actually for 1 month's rent for July. But if your clothes and your junk have been there for 3 months, if you want them, it's going to cost you personally August, September, and October's rent. That's $1,500. Is your stuff worth $1,500?
No, I don't want what she's
Great.
left over.
Then your counterclaim is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. That's all.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He was, messing with someone else. So I called him and I told him I didn't want to be with him anymore.
And that happened just a short time after you co-signed for this car. That's why you don't co-sign for anybody.
Judge Judy.
Obviously, she gave away all my personal belongings to her friends and family.
She skipped on rent, and she didn't want to pay.
All the constant drinking, the reclusive behavior.
Whatever she's saying is not true. She even knows.
Not having a job, not working, not going to school.
I was going to school, and I just graduated.
Her entire lifestyle.
I don't know what she was talking about.
It was very upsetting. Not to find a roommate off Craigslist.
I think I don't need to look for some people like her.
He was, messing with someone else. So I called him and I told him I didn't want to be with him anymore.
And that happened just a short time after you co-signed for this car.
But there was more that drove them apart.
There was bullet holes in the car that I found out about, and I said, I don't want to have anything to do with this.
Judge Judy.
That's why you don't co-sign for anybody.
Yeah, I'm learning my mistake now.
You sure are.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Ron Mitchell is suing his ex-girlfriend, 23-year-old Denise Wilson, for towing fees, unpaid tickets, and an electronic car key.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 318 on the calendar in the matter of Mitchell versus Wilson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Mitchell, do you work?
Yes.
Who do you work for?
I'm a barber.
What about you, Miss Wilson?
I work at Macy's as a sales associate.
How long have you worked for Macy's?
Maybe about 2 months now.
Before that, where did you work?
I was a home health aide.
How long did you do that?
1.5 years.
Have any children? Clearly, because you've been working and doing other things, you haven't been watching me often enough to know that you never co-signed for a car.
Yes, Your Honor.
For anybody.
I agree.
Of course. But now it's too late.
Yeah.
Because, Mr. Mitchell, evidently you didn't have enough credit as a barber to get a car loan by yourself. Is that right?
I believe so.
What do you mean you believe so? Could you get it on your own?
I didn't try by myself.
Why not?
I had a friend that would help me, so...
Well, why should she need to help you?
She didn't need to, but she agreed to.
Well, agreed means somebody asked her to help them. If she agreed to, that means that you asked her to help you.
Yes.
And she was a friend of yours, but according to what I read in your complaint, just girlfriend. Certainly not exclusive, right? She didn't know she wasn't exclusive, but you knew she wasn't exclusive. Now, I wanted to ask you, on what date she co-signed this car loan for you?
On 6/24/2015.
Repeat.
6/24/2015.
For how much?
What you mean, how much?
How much of a loan did you take out?
$15,000.
And how long did you know her before you took out this $15,000 line of credit on her credit?
For a year and some change.
And how many other girlfriends?
Just was friends with Denise.
Your Honor.
Well, you say you had other girlfriends.
I said I had other girlfriends.
In your complaint.
I don't have a bunch of girlfriends. I was friends with Denise and other girls I spoke to, like...
Spoke to them?
Yeah, like...
Anyway, Miss Wilson, this is what the case is about.
Yeah.
According to you, you found out that he was either talking to or dating or going out with somebody else, and you got very annoyed with him. And that happened just a short time after you co-signed for this car. So, according to sort of both of you, there was some sort of a kerfuffle in your house.
In her house.
Is that your friend?
Yes.
In your friend's house. And at that time, you came into possession of his car keys.
Correct.
So he couldn't move his car. And his car got towed. He had impound fees. He had to rekey the car, to reprogram the car so that he could use the key, because you refused to give him the key, according to both of you, and especially to you, because you wanted him to go down and get your name off the loan.
Okay.
Just a second. Now, you could make a whole long story over this, but is that what you wanted? Did you want him to get his name off the loan because you found out he was fooling around with other people?
That was spoke about this prior to the incident, about getting my name off as a co-signer, because there was bullet holes in a car that I found out about, and I said, I don't want to have anything to do with this anymore.
Actually, you can't do that.
Do I get my name off as a co-signer because...
Because of the bullet holes.
Well, I felt like I wanted my name off as a co-signer because it was too much going on with the car, and if anything happened, I'm liable for it also.
Absolutely, you still are.
Yeah.
You still are. That's why you don't co-sign for anybody.
Yeah, I'm learning my mistake now.
You sure are.
Yeah.
Well, so you took the car keys, and he couldn't move the car. His car got towed.
This was after he took my phone, my house keys, and my wallet.
Tell me on what date he took your phone, your house keys, and your wallet.
I believe this was August 22nd or the 23rd, one of those days.
Tell me about it.
So I heard that he was, messing with someone else. So I called him and I told him I didn't want to be with him anymore. And he came to where I was at, drunk and belligerent, grabbing me around, tossing me around, you're not leaving me, everything like that. So we started tussling over my bag. Every time we get into an argument, he takes my things just so I would come back. So he took my stuff, and I told my witness here to call the police, and then that's when he ran towards the door and he left. And he left his bag and his key on the table. So I took the key. After that, I went to her neighbor's house, and he wasn't answering the phone, so I went home. And I had the key in my possession.
How long?
Maybe like a few weeks.
Okay. How
But
much
he
did
had
you
an
pay to get your,
opportunity to
how
come
much
get the
did you
key.
pay to get your car out of tow?
It came up to a total of $385
For the towing and the
to
tickets?
get it out the impound and to get it towed to the Bronx.
And then how much did it cost to have a new key made?
$300.
Let me see.
It's a little blurry. That's a picture of the receipt. That's to order the key was $195, and it was another $100 to program the key.
Got it. Okay, very good. So now you have your key and you have your car.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so she owes you $685. Now she says you have her phone. Do you have her phone?
No.
Is not an answer. Did you have her phone?
I did break her phone, but I paid her for that.
When?
When we was at the dealership and we were trying to make a copy of the key, that's when they let me know that the copy and to get it programmed would come out to $300. She agreed to give them the key that she took from me. She agreed to give it to them so they could copy it, but it cost them. She agreed to have the key copied if I pay her the $60 for the phone, and I pay her $60 for the phone.
On what date?
I'm not sure of what date.
He's telling me the truth.
Your Honor.
Just a second. He's telling me the truth because it's too convoluted a story for him to make up. Do you understand? Do you understand me? Too convoluted a story for him to make up.
Your Honor, he did not give me no money for my phone. He had many opportunities to get his key.
Great.
The next day, after what happened at her house, he came to my house, tried to get into my house with my house keys. And he was kicking and banging on my door. I have pictures of the damages that he done to my door. And I told him, I said, I will see you at the dealership tomorrow. You could get the key copy from there. We go to the dealership, and he seen how much it costs for the key. And he was like, well, I don't have the money for that. And I was like, I don't have it right now either. We started to argue in the dealership. They said we had to go outside. And that's when he started pulling my hair, grabbing me, throwing me on the car, everything. So I have a police report for that also.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $685. Your counterclaim's dismissed. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
There's nothing really going on. He's bitter.
A lot of the stuff she said was lies.
I don't want to be with you.
She's just mad because I'm talking to somebody else.
Because she told me he was kissing on the girl in her house.
Yeah, I was.
It's ridiculous.
Leave crazy girls alone.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Choquette versus Herbert. Step forward.
Anthony Choquette is suing his former friend and roommate, Ronald Herbert, for the return or value of belongings he left behind when he moved out.
Mr. Choquette, who is this young man?
This is my son, Noah.
Does he know anything about this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is what it looks to me as if the case is about. You and Mr. Herbert were good friends for a long time, and there came a point when you didn't have a place to live.
Right.
And Mr. Herbert was accommodating, said, come and move in with me. We can work out a rental arrangement, $700 a month, which you did in fact pay him until sometime last July. How long had you lived with him up until last July?
I moved in with him in July of 2013.
And in July, there came a point when you could no longer afford to pay rent, according to what I've read from both of you. And Mr. Herbert said, okay, take as much time as you need, but you're going to have to move by September. Now, you didn't move out until October. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You moved out in October so that you lived rent-free for 3 months.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you moved out, there were some stuff that you took with you. But according to you, Mr. Herbert, who had let you, stole some of your property by refusing to give it back to you. That's your case.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you claim he has that belongs to you.
I have a list, actually, Your Honor. Would you like itemized? Or should I give it to the bailiff and have him...
I want you to tell me what you claim he has that belongs to you.
He had some firearms.
Just a second. Some firearms is not a description. Does he have a gun that belongs to you?
There's a World
rifle?
War II issue World Model M2 Universal 30 caliber carbine with a 30-round magazine.
Do you have that?
No, ma'am.
He doesn't have it. What's next?
A Western lever action 30 caliber rifle.
Do you have that?
No, ma'am.
Do you know what happened to those two things?
No, I possibly went in his car when it went shipped out to Tennessee.
It was what?
His car was shipped to Tennessee.
Who shipped it?
He left it at my mother's house, then brought it to my house, and then he had us ship it out loaded with stuff.
Who loaded the car?
Just don't ask him a question.
Oh.
Don't ask him any questions. So all of this material was in a car that was shipped?
Possibly the guns. I don't know everything was in the car. There was also a storage pod dropped off at my house with his stuff from the loss of his home that we unloaded and put in a storage building on the property.
And what happened to that stuff?
Most of it was loaded into a U-Haul. His ex-wife came out and grabbed several things, which I have no idea of everything she grabbed.
The ex-wife would be your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Had you met her before?
Yes, she used to work for my...
Took some stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
And what did she do with the stuff that she took?
After leaving my premises, I have no idea.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I also have a video, an audio recording I'd like to play for the court.
That says what?
I was attempting to call Mr. Herbert every day. Anyway, he called me and left me a threatening message.
And?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Anthony Choquette says his former friend and roommate, Ronald Herbert, refuses to return belongings left behind when he moved out. Ronald is countersuing for unpaid rent.
Now, do you remember what month she came and took that stuff?
She came multiple times, I do not know.
After he had moved out?
Before he moved back to California.
But he was out of your residence?
Yes, he hadn't lived with us at the time. He just was storing the stuff there.
Was he paying you storage fees?
Was supposed to, but did not.
I paid him some. I paid him to renovate the storage shed, Your Honor, and make it safe.
Okay, now, go through your list. I'm going to ask him whether he has any of those things.
Vintage pump air rifle.
You have that?
No, ma'am.
Go.
55-inch high-definition three-dimensional television.
Do you have that?
No, ma'am.
Do you know what happened to it?
No, ma'am.
Do you know where it was?
There was a couple TVs loaded into his wife's car. I don't know, flat screens.
Did you ever ask your mother about the televisions?
No, ma'am.
Now, do you work, sir?
No, I'm a stay-home father of 3.
How do you support yourself?
My wife does the work.
What kind of work does she do?
She's a retail manager.
What do you do?
I'm a vice president of a bail bond company, Your Honor.
Are you making a living now?
I am now.
But you weren't then?
No, ma'am.
What's your ex-wife's name?
Jill.
When was the last time you spoke to her?
Yesterday.
Okay. Now, did you have a car transported from where Mr. Herbert lives to where you're now living?
Yes, ma'am. As a matter of fact,
Who transported it?
It was a transportation company.
And who paid for that?
I did.
Who arranged for it?
I did.
Who arranged to pack the car?
Mr. Herbert.
No, ma'am. It was packed when it was delivered to me.
It was packed. Where had it been?
He dropped it off at my mother's house, and then I went to pick it up at my mother's house, where his wife came and took a few things out of it there.
Were you there when she took a few things out of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What's next? What's next?
Can I address the car issue?
Were you there?
No.
Let's go. Next.
The front-load washing machine. I do have a photograph.
Do you have that?
He gave it to me as service.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have that?
Yes.
And it's in your house?
Yes.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding this, because I read this, that he gave you the washing machine.
I wouldn't let him bring it into the house because my washer broke. He said he wanted to bring it in the house used, and I says, no, I don't want it in the house. I'll fix my washer. I had done, at that time, 3 different jobs, so there would be no issues on that.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why didn't you come back with the U-Haul?
I tried to call him as we were leaving, say, I'm going to just drop this stuff off and come back and pick up what's left. He would never answer his phone, Your Honor.
Is that what happened?
No, ma'am.
You want to tell me what happened?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Anthony Choquette says his former friend and roommate, Ronald Herbert, refuses to return belongings left behind when he moved out. Ronald is countersuing for unpaid rent.
He's coming to get the washing machine. What's next?
Craftsman 18-inch sliding chop saw.
Do you have his saw?
I don't know anything about an 18-inch chop saw.
How do you sleep at night? An antique stained glass entry doors. There are 2 of those.
You have those at your house?
They're bifold doors. I don't know if you want to call it 2 or 1, but yes.
Fine. He's going to pick those up with the washing machine.
Watergrass wall mirror.
A what?
A watergrass wall mirror.
I don't know what that is.
The frame is made out of water glass. It's like bamboo, I guess.
Keep going.
Okay. Some scuba gear, U.S. Divers scuba gear, small cylinder.
Do you have that?
I have a bag of wetsuit stuff that's in the picture now.
Wetsuit stuff. That's his.
That would be number 12. Wetsuit stuff. Scuba Pro rocket fin, dive fin. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead. What's next?
Titanium dive knife, miscellaneous dive gear, 48-bottle wine cooler.
Do you have that at your house?
No, ma'am.
Go.
Gall's electronic shotgun lock that I had when I was a police
It was loaded in the U-Haul when he picked up that.
How many trips did he make in the U-Haul?
The U-Haul was 1. He was supposed to come back the next day. He didn't. He made.
Just a second. You rented a U-Haul?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you put all the stuff that you loaded from his house?
In storage, ma'am.
Not in his storage?
No, ma'am.
No. In your own storage?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Anything else on your list?
Oh, yes. Had some replica theater swords. Mr. Herbert was interested in knives and stuff, and once I showed it to him, and he said he would store them in his bedroom, I never saw them again, along with the rifles. 2 counter chairs. I have a photograph of one of them. We had to leave that behind. We didn't have enough room in the truck. A wooden rolling table. Like a.
Why didn't you come back with the U-Haul the next day?
I tried to call him as we were leaving his property to make arrangements, say, I'm going to just drop this stuff off and come back and pick up what's left. He would never answer his phone, Your Honor.
Is that what happened?
No, ma'am.
You want to tell me what happened?
He did call me the next morning, said he didn't get undone loading in the truck until sometime around 10 on Sunday, which would have been the 23rd, and he said he was too tired to come out.
When for the first time, Mr. Coquette, after the 23rd, did you go to your property?
I filed a report on, I'm not sure of the date, Your Honor.
Well, find out the date and give me a copy of it.
They didn't take the police would not take a report. They said it was a civil matter.
No, they take a report. If someone was withholding your property, they take a report.
They did not take a report, Your Honor. It was Hemet Police
You're picking up your washing machine, your bifold doors, and all the wetsuit stuff that he says is in a bag. Anything else?
Yes. There's a bag of adult movies there as well.
Okay. Anything else?
And those are the ones I'm going to throw away when we move.
Anything else?
He took them.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Very good.
A 4-door file cabinet, mission style.
I'm telling you, Mr. Coquette, that's what he has, and that's what you can pick up within 5 days of this order. The washing machine, the bifold doors, and all your wetsuit stuff.
Ma'am, I also have a an audio recording I'd like to play for the court.
That says what?
Well, I could play it for you.
No.
All right. I was attempting to call Mr. Herbert every day. His mother finally called me and told me not to bother him.
Don't tell me what his mother told you.
Right. Anyway, he called me and left me a threatening message.
And?
And he admitted to having my stuff.
He admitted to having things other than the washing machine,
Yes.
the bifold door.
Storage. It's not even here anymore. That's what he said.
5 days. Washing machine, bifold doors, and wetsuit stuff. Now, how much rent didn't you pay him and live in his house?
There was no rental agreement, Your Honor.
That's a lie.
Cash.
You acknowledged when we first started this case that you were paying him rent, but you stopped paying him rent in July.
Okay.
I can play back the tape for you.
Oh, I believe you.
So how many months did he let you live there rent-free?
2.
3. Because you also said you left in October.
I gave him $250 to stay there the last week.
Just a minute. So from a moment ago, there was no rental agreement, and you gave him $250. That's slippery. Judgment for the plaintiff, he will pick up within 5 days his washing machine, his bifold doors, and his wetsuit stuff. With regard to your counterclaim, Mr. Herbert, for the 3 months' rent that you claim he owes you, you forgave that over a year ago. What you did was you told him you can't pay rent, be out by September.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So you in effect forgave that
Just
rent.
wanted him out of the house and the financial burden stopped from my firm.
Right. So then I'm dismissing your counterclaim. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
This dog jumped up on me and bit me.
I expected maybe a doctor's bet $500 worth of medical bills.
And what about the fact that he was bitten by your dog?
Judge Judy.
He agreed to pay rent and then was raising up the bills in the home.
You know, I just wanted my stuff back. You know, that's all.
I asked him, we either have to turn the bills or you have to pay your stuff on time, and he couldn't do that.
I was very uncomfortable there also. While I was there, I lost a lot of weight. You know, I wasn't allowed to go anywhere.
With 3 kids and my wife was pretty upset about it. We made it even tighter, made it so we didn't go anywhere.
It turned into a nightmare.
It's over with. It's done. I just go on and go about my life.
He's my best friend. And I don't know how he sleeps at night lying like he did over there.
A bachelor party hits the road.
You had a good time?
Definitely.
But a damaged limousine
It's horrible. The floor is burned. My ceiling is burned.
put this best man in a bad spot.
Anything else wrong with it?
There were 2 locations on the wet bar that appeared to have cocaine on it.
And he tasted it.
I did, John. It was a foolish mistake. Just something I probably wasn't thinking.
Probably saw it on CSI.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. 25-year-old Grant Grotman is suing limo company owner Shelley Boudreau for the return of money she...
All rise.
It's case number 384 on the calendar in the matter of Grutman versus Boudreaux.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Mr. Grutman, you hired the limousine from the defendant's company for an evening. Was it a party? What was it?
It was a bachelor party for my friend. I was the best man.
How many guys were going in the limousine?
Originally, we made the reservation for 8. Unfortunately, one had a delayed flight from North Carolina, so it ended up being 7.
Not the groom, I assume?
Nope. Yeah, he definitely arrived.
Good. So there were 7 of you?
Yep.
Okay. And coming in from all over the country?
Nope. We all came from Minnesota, excluding the North Carolina non-attendee.
Okay. And what was the cost of the limo for the evening?
It was $385.
Okay. You went, you had a good time, and the defendant charged your credit card in addition to the service. $1,100?
$775. There was a charge for $350 and one for $425.
$775.
Yep.
Now, she says that you and your group were using illegal substances, cigarettes. You destroyed the interior of the limousine. That's what she charged you for. As a matter of fact, she said when she looked at it further, you know, there was more damage and it was out of service for a long time, so she's counterclaiming. Just give me the date of this service. Got into it?
It was not in the condition she described. However, it was slightly worn.
Okay, but it was okay.
But yeah, there was no serious damage.
Okay. Now, I'd like to see photographs of the limousine on July 17th.
Okay. Let's bring the pictures.
What is this a picture of?
That's the wet bar. It's like a glossy finish. It's part of the wet bar. There's a picture in the small pictures that'll show you the interior. It's just a close-up of the scratches and...
How do I know he did that? That looks like a lot of scratches. You think that that was done over the course of one evening? How old is this limousine? Give me the year.
Limousine is...
Give me the year.
In 08.
So it's 7 years old. And you use it regularly?
Yes.
How many limousines do you have in your company?
6.
And this one is used how often?
Once or twice a week.
Okay. You don't have a picture of this on the 15th?
No.
Right? No.
No, Your Honor, I don't.
Okay. Now, there are holes in here. What is this?
That's cigarette burns in the headliner, Your Honor.
In the headliner?
Yes. In the limo right by the back door where the window rolls down, there's burn marks up there.
And this is a picture of?
Allowed.
Anybody in your group smoke?
We had one person who smokes, but out of courtesy to others, he only did it away from the group that night.
Did anybody smoke in the limousine?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Were you present that night?
Yes, I was.
Interesting. Tell me your name.
Nick.
Nick, was anybody smoking in the limousine that night?
No, there wasn't.
The one person who smoked was who?
Cullen is one of his best men's friends.
And when he smoked that evening, are you telling me he smoked only outside the limousine?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You were the driver?
No, ma'am.
Who was the driver?
The driver's not present, Your Honor.
Oh.
He couldn't make it, but I do have a sworn affidavit from him. But
is he in the armed forces?
No, Your Honor.
Is he in jail?
No.
Well, then you can't tell me anything. You have to return his $775 to him because you don't know who did this, and I don't have anybody there that evening who could testify to the fact. The only testimony that I have is that nobody... Were you in the car that evening?
Yes, Your Honor.
You were. Was he in the car with you?
He was not.
Were you driving with them in the car that evening?
No, Your Honor.
They say nobody was smoking in the car.
He checked the car in.
I don't care whether he checked the car in.
Okay.
You had the ability. Does your driver still work for you?
No.
Why not?
He got a better job. My employees are part-time on the weekends, and he had so it's priority for him, and he couldn't come today just because he's a supervisor and they won't let him off work.
Okay.
But Danny's my manager, and he does wait for the drivers to come in at 2 o'clock. He checks in the vehicles, and he pays the drivers.
That's very good. He says, A, nobody smoked in the vehicle, and the only one who could testify that that was not true was your driver.
I just have a signed affidavit from him that's all he would give me. And Danny witnessed it when the car was checked in. He stocked it before the car left and put ice cups, napkins, and can I just have an estimate from the shop we brought it to immediately? But
on what date did you bring it to the shop?
July 22nd.
When was the car in the shop immediately preceding that?
It hadn't been in the shop for repair.
Is that right?
Your Honor, we replaced the vehicle. Instead of repairing it, we decided it would be better off that way. So
you don't have the vehicle anymore?
Yeah, we do.
We still do. It's currently for sale.
The damages on the wet bar is excruciating. It's horrible. The floor is burned. My ceiling is burned. I deliver top service to my clients to where I'm not going to even fix it. It's trashed. And the wet bar can never be back to normal. And if we did rip that whole thing out, it'd probably be like $4,000. Very expensive.
Can I see what you sent to his credit card company? And when, Ms. Boudreau, did you contact the plaintiff?
I tried contacting the plaintiff immediately. He avoided me for 3 weeks.
Well, show me.
I have some text.
I'd like to see when you contacted him.
Can I show you on my phone, Your Honor?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, would you return this to her? Because this I don't want.
The 28th was when we finally started to correspond.
Just a second, the 28th?
The 28th. It took him that long to get back to me, Your Honor.
No, when did you first call him, is my question.
I called him the next day.
Did you leave him a text?
No, I left a message.
Can I see that on your phone?
I left him a voicemail, but I just have the text messages from the 28th. When I had the dispute with the credit card company, we both submitted our evidence. They found in my favor. They awarded me the difference. And I got rid of a lot of the evidence, to tell you the truth. I didn't think this was going to continue. I thought we were done with this, and then I was notified of this court. So some of my evidence I didn't keep.
Like what?
Just other pictures. There's pictures of beer cans all over. There was beer cans knocked over. There was spilt liquor.
Did you? Just a second. Is that the way you found the limousine?
Yes, Your Honor.
When you checked it back in?
Yes, Your Honor.
How many beer cans were on the floor?
On the floor, five or six.
Mr. Grabman.
Sure.
Where did you start your bachelor party?
First, we went to Kroll's Diner, which is a neat little place that just kind of looks like a 50s diner.
What time?
About 9 a.m.
9 in the morning?
Yep.
And what time did you conclude?
It was about 1:45 a.m.
So you were out for?
The entire day.
Entire day into the evening?
Yep.
Your case is looking better.
It's not been fun.
Now, when you presented all the evidence that you had to the credit card company and the defendant presented all of her evidence to the credit card company, what happened?
I did not present any evidence to the credit card company. All I did is submit a request to remove the credit charges because I did not authorize them. And then they...
Are you telling me that nobody in your car, of the 7 people that were there, and had been out from 9 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the morning, nobody had a cigarette? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I didn't say that. I said 7 of us were non-smokers, and the one person who did smoke smoked away from the group that day.
That may have been, but smoked in the limousine.
No.
Yeah, I don't believe that. Don't believe it. And I don't believe that you 7 guys were all sober by the time you got home at 2 o'clock in the morning either. Now, did you say anything to your drug?
How the evening went, he explained that...
No, you can't tell me what he explained. When you looked in the vehicle, you saw 4 or 5 beer cans. Were any of them spilled?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the carpet?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else other than the beer cans and some spilled beer and evidence that somebody had been smoking in the car? Anything else wrong with it?
Yes, Your Honor. I had entered the vehicle and looked for signs of damage is when I noticed there were 2 locations on the wet bar that appeared to have what I thought was cocaine on it. There's a powdery residue. On the photo, the scratches you'll see like some white crumbs of whatever, and it looks like they were like chopping up cocaine and lining it up, and they just left pieces of it there in 2 different locations. The end of the wet bar closest to the rear door was a location, and then towards the middle of the wet bar was another location where I found that.
And he tasted it.
I did, Your Honor. It was a foolish mistake. It was just something I probably wasn't thinking.
Probably saw it on CSI.
Yeah, probably. And my tongue went numb. It was when I realized it was most likely cocaine.
Okay. Anybody want to say anything else to me?
I would like to submit as evidence a drug test from everyone aboard that limousine that night, all proving negative.
A month later?
Shh. Just a minute. Don't. Was that 17th of July?
16th.
No. Was the
pit hair samples taken, which go back 6 months, and we had that done in September.
Oh, I'd like to see those.
Sure.
On all 7 people. Sir, on all 7 people is my question.
All except for Cullen. He did not get a drug test.
I don't have to see him. Colin's the problem.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
You realized that this puppy business was not for you.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of work, a lot of mess. How long did that take you to find that it was too much for you?
2 days.
I would suggest that you don't start a family right away.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Grant Groutman says limo company owner Shelley Boudreau charged his credit card for erroneous limo damages. Shelley is countersuing for lost revenue and additional damage.
Now, why didn't Colin take a drug test?
He said he was really busy that week.
All he had to do was pull out a hair, right?
I agree.
Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Thank you.
Why does that excuse? You may step out.
They went crazy. They had a bachelor party. Like you said, they started at 9 o'clock.
We were not at fault for this.
He is a drug user, and if it's not him, then it's the people in his group.
Get it.
Maybe that was the guy. I don't, you know, there's always one bad apple out of a group.
And honestly, I'm very upset that she ended up getting $775 of mine for something I didn't do.
If you come to Fargo and you want to party, you're going to pay for it, just like in Vegas.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bittner versus Roberts. Step forward.
20-year-old Sophia Bittner is suing Amanda Roberts for the return of money she paid for a black Labrador.
Miss Bittner, on what date did you purchase a puppy from Miss Roberts?
On July 25th of 2015.
How did you find her?
Online, just on Facebook, there's public pages for Spokane classifieds or like breeding and rehoming pages.
And you were looking for a particular kind of dog?
Yes.
What kind?
A black lab.
Okay, and that's what she had a litter of, black labs. Now, when you contacted her, did you make an appointment to go to see them?
Not specifically an appointment, but we kind of came up with a date to go and meet, yeah.
Well, that's an appointment.
Okay.
And that was on July 25th?
Yes.
Okay, and you went there. How many puppies were left?
2.
And you chose one?
Yes.
You negotiated a price. And the price was?
$450 was the price negotiated.
Okay. Did you sign a contract with her?
No.
So she gave you the puppy, you gave her $450, and you went home.
We gave her $40. It only comes out in multiples of 20, so we just said, don't give us change.
So you made her a gift of $10.
Right.
So the puppy was $450, and then you went home. And this is your boyfriend?
Yes.
You live together?
Yes.
And then you realized that this puppy business was not for you. It was a lot of work, a lot of mess.
We could do the mess, we could do the whining, just not in an apartment. It just wasn't right in an apartment.
No, the mess and the whining is better in a house.
Yes.
Mess and whining is mess and whining. I don't care whether you're in a cubicle or in a palace. It's still mess and whining. Okay, so you found that it was too much for you. How long did that take you to find that it was too much for you?
2 days.
I would suggest that you don't start a family right away.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She said to you, I'll give you your money back? Or did she say, I'll give you your money back if I sell the puppy?
If she resold the dog. And when
well, that's a different story. What was it about this puppy that rendered it unsaleable?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sophia Bittner says Amanda Roberts owes her a refund for a black Labrador.
So after 2 days, you called the defendant back and said, I want to return the puppy.
Said she would take the puppy back gladly. So then I asked if we could get our money back the same night, and she said that she would have to give us back a different time the money that she owed us.
Well, she didn't owe you anything, actually, because your contract was complete when she turned over the dog to you and you gave her the money. And you had no contract that said...
She said that she would pay us back, though.
Just a second.
Okay.
She was under no obligation to pay you back. You understand that. You could have sold the puppy to somebody else. Maybe. You understand that.
Okay.
You didn't have a contract that allowed you a trial run. So she said to you, I'll give you your money back? Or did she say, I'll give you your money back if I sell the puppy?
Yes, if she resold the dog. And when
well, that's a different story. She said, I'll give you your money back if I resell the puppy. Did you resell the puppy?
No, I did not.
Who now owns the puppy?
A gal named Kelly.
How did you find her?
Off of Craigslist.
How long did you keep the puppy before you found her?
I had the puppy for about a month.
How old was the puppy then?
12 weeks.
What was it about this puppy that rendered it unsaleable?
Just starting to get older. People weren't wanting to pay the fee that I was asking, and I was moving.
When did you move?
I moved on September 1st.
And when did you give the puppy to Kelly?
A couple days before I moved.
Did you charge her any money for the puppy? I can't help you.
Even if I have text messages where she says she will pay me back once she resells the dog?
That's what she said. She said, I'll pay you back when I resell the dog. She's testified that she did not resell the dog, that she gave it to Kelly a day before she was supposed to move. A month later.
She just never told me that, and we had kept in contact for a month after, saying, you know, have you sold the dog? What's the update on the dog? Do you need help selling the dog? And she was like, no, I won't have your money until I sell the dog. And so we kept in contact until
she wasn't going to give you a dog when you already told her that you couldn't take care of the dog.
No, give us the money, I meant.
I don't give you the money. I'll give you the money when I sell the dog. I can't say... Listen, she is under no pressure to sell this dog for money because she's already gotten paid from you. Do you understand? She can give this dog away because her contract with you, her verbal agreement with you was, I will give you back your money when I resell the dog. And what Miss Roberts is saying, and which you have no evidence to the contrary to demonstrate to me, is that she never resold the dog. So she had no money to give back to you. Now, I don't know whether she did or she didn't, but she didn't promise to give you your money back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on...
She promised to give you your money back when she resold the dog. That was the condition precedent of her returning your money. And unless you have some proof that she sold the dog, in which case I will absolutely give you back what she got for it if she sold it. Whether she got $450 or $250 or $150, I don't know. But you don't have any proof of that. Do you understand your problem?
Yes, I understand. I don't know how I would have known that she would have resold the dog if she completely cut off contact.
I don't know either.
Blocked me on everything.
I don't know either. Do you understand? You have a contract. Your first contract with her was, I am giving you $450, and in exchange for that, I am getting your dog. That contract was completed. Your second agreement with her is, which you both agreed to, was, I will take back the puppy, and I will give you back your money when I resell the dog, so that I'm left whole, which she says she didn't do. I don't know whether she did or she didn't. She has to live with her own conscience about that. Do you understand? But she's under no pressure to sell your dog because she's already gotten paid for it. I mean, what if she gives the dog to her niece?
Right.
She said, I can give the dog to my niece. I said I'd give you back your money if I sold it. She doesn't have what we call a fiduciary relationship with you. If you had an agreement with her that either in a month she would give you back your money, or sooner if she sold the day's date, which was whatever it was, August 25th. By August 25th, I'll give you back your money, or sooner if I sell the dog, then you have a deal. But she said, I'll give you back your money when and if I sell the dog. She says she didn't. So, got it? You look like a nice girl. I hope you didn't sell the dog.
No, I did not.
Okay, that's it. We're done.
They step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You were supposed to pay him $8,000. You did not.
He's a bit of a hothead. He got all huffy and puffy and tough, and he's trying to start a fight with me. He assaulted me.
Next Judge Judy.
We had a small apartment, and it just wasn't the right place for a dog.
If I would have known she lived in an apartment?
It was pretty tough. Yeah, we were both crying when we brought the dog back.
I would have not allowed the puppy to go there.
But we had agreed to get the money back, so...
She just told me that she didn't have time for her.
This is a bummer.
And asked if she could bring her back. I told her she could bring her back.
I need a signed contract.
But I don't have your money.
Because people will get you.
Friend runs out of funds.
When you bought truck A from him, you were supposed to pay him $8,000. You did not.
Patience.
Where did it take place?
It took place in my front yard.
Were you invited over to his house?
No. He's a bit of a hothead. He got all huffy and puffy and tough, and he's trying to start a fight with me. You know, long story short, he assaulted me.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Adrian Dorenzi is suing his former friend, Michael Robertson for the unpaid balance on a truck, medical bills, and damages from an assault.
Order. All rise. This is case 336 on the calendar in the matter of Dorenzi versus Robertson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
I'm really not good with these convoluted car deals, but let me see if I can try to explain it to Officer Byrd, and you'll tell me where I'm off.
Yes.
You had a car or a truck. Defendant was a friend of yours. You
Correct.
sold him the truck.
Correct.
For $8,000, and we'll call that Truck A.
Yeah.
He paid you $6,500.
Yes.
So far, correct?
$6,900.
So you have proof that you paid him $6,900.
I have $6,900.
Well, if you only have proof, he said it was
Okay, fine.
$6,500. Do you have proof that it was any?
That he paid me more, less? No.
Well, he says he paid you $6,600.
I got the registration
He has proof
payment.
that he paid $6,600. So let's say he paid you $6,600.
Yeah.
But then he didn't have the rest. And he said to you, I have a truck. Can I give you the truck? That would be Truck B in satisfaction of the full $8,000. And you said, okay. And he gives you the truck. And when you go to register the truck, you find that there is a $900 some sort of lien against the truck.
Mm-hmm.
What is the lien for?
It was salvaged. He was there when I got it salvaged, too. But there was salvaged.
I don't know what... There's a $900 something against the truck.
There was a salvage title on the truck, which means it has to go through a brake and light inspection, and it needs to be smogged. That's about it.
So what's this $900?
The $900 is what he owed me for that pickup because of the registration fee that I had to pay over for his vehicle. His was out of registration, and he also had my truck, the new Dodge, impounded. So I had to get it out of impound. That was the fee that makes it $900.
When you bought Truck A from him, you were supposed to pay him $8,000.
Yes.
Cash money.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't $6,600.
Yes.
So you still owe him $1,400. Let's deal with that little bit first.
Okay.
You didn't pay him the $1,400.
Mm-hmm.
So you still owe him the $1,400.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, forget Truck B. When did you purchase Truck A? Month and year?
February.
February of this year?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's all.
7/15.
And on what date did you give him the money?
That day.
Give
I
me
was
the
even
date.
before that, actually. Sorry.
Month and year
February.
of 2015.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So now we have on plaintiff's side $1,400. Now we're going to go to Truck B. Who has current possession of Truck B? You do. So you have Truck B back.
Mm-hmm.
So now you owe him $1,400. That's just simple. I don't have to worry about title. $1,400. So on your side, you have $1,400.
Yep.
Now we're going to deal with the second half of this case, which has to do with assault.
Yes.
Which took place when?
Beginning of August.
Of this year?
2015, yes.
Was this all over the truck?
This was over the truck, his ex-girlfriend, and things of that nature.
Well,
he's a bit of...
Where did it take place?
It took place in my front yard at my house.
So he came to your house?
Yes.
So far, is that correct, that you came to his house?
Yes.
What time?
It was 10 o'clock-ish, maybe.
In the morning or in the evening?
In the morning.
Were you invited over to his house?
No.
What did you go over there for?
A payment for the black truck, the $900 he owed me.
But you owe him $1,400.
No, the truck was taking the place of that. He had the truck at that time. He still owed me $900. Remember, we traded for the $2,000 off of the $8,000?
No, we didn't talk about $2,000. We talked about in satisfaction of the $8,000. So let me simplify this.
Okay.
You went over there because you thought he owed you money.
Well, he did.
No, not he did. You went over there because you thought he owed you money.
Okay.
And what happened?
I said I needed payment on the truck, and he told me that he'd pay me the next day. And I said, good, otherwise I'm going to have to take my truck back. It's been a while since he's paid me anything. He was driving my truck unlicensed. He was driving it uninsured. Well, actually, I kept it insured for him because I didn't want to get it tickets. And then he was driving over the Golden Gate Bridge, getting tickets that were getting delivered to me that I have to pay. So I don't know what else to do then, you know?
Shh. Well, it could have been very simple. All you had to do was pay him his $1,400.
No, all he had to do was pay me the $900.
No, listen to me.
Okay.
owed him the money for the initial purchase of Truck A. You didn't pay the money for Truck A. It was subsequent to purchasing Truck A that you made this other agreement with regard to your truck. But there would have been no other agreement if you had paid him the balance of what you owed on the truck.
I paid him everything on that truck.
No, you didn't.
I didn't?
No, you didn't.
It's signed right here.
Even according to you, you didn't. According to you, you paid him $6,600 and the purchase price was $8,000.
Okay, the Chevy truck that he was buying from me, he owed me $2,000 for that.
Was that done at the same time?
Yes.
It was done at the same time. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct exactly. He originally was going to sell it to me for $1,500.
No. All I asked you was it at the same time?
It was at the same time, yes.
Okay, so it was a $6,600 payment, and you were going to buy the truck from him.
In lieu of the last payment he owed me, yes. The $1,500.
Okay, so you go over to his house. Now we're dealing with the assault, because you have your truck back. Now we're dealing with the assault. So you go over to his house and you say, I need some money and I'm getting tickets, whatever. What's the next thing that happens?
After I told him that I was going to take my truck back, he got all huffy and puffy and tough, and he's trying to start a fight with me.
No, I want you to tell me.
Like he wanted to fight me.
And?
And we fought.
Just a minute. No. Dancing around you with his fists up, and what happened next?
He swung at me, and we fought.
He swung at you, and?
I don't know. We fought. I defended myself.
So you hit him?
I don't think I did. I put him in a headlock, and threw him on the ground, and finished it like that.
Okay. You want to tell me your version of what happened?
Yeah, I woke up in the morning to a knock on my wall. I went out to see who it was. It was Mike. And at that point, he's telling me how he's going to take my truck and all this stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't owe you any money. I didn't buy your truck. I ended up with your truck because you owed me money. And he gets mad for whatever reason. And, he attacks me. Long story short, he assaulted me.
No, that's the conclusion. What happened?
And what ended up happening was I got a scratch to my cornea. He ended up scratching my cornea.
So he's angry, and what's the next thing that happened?
He becomes aggressive and...
No, becomes aggressive is a conclusion. What's the next thing that happened?
He attacked me.
No, that's a conclusion.
Okay.
Somebody takes their fist, hits you in the face. Someone takes their foot, kicks you in the shins. Someone takes out a knife and stabs you in the ear.
He put his hands up like he was going to swing and hit me.
Yes.
So I took a step back and I tripped over a bike. It's on me. And
Just a second.
He proceeded to hit me.
Okay, so you fell.
Yeah, I tripped on a bike, yes.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember any bike or anything like that.
I don't remember either. Actually, can I see both of your medical records?
Yes. Here's my emergency.
I'm waiting for yours.
I don't have any medical records. I had no problem with what happened.
What's that? Give us something else.
On what date did you go over there to discuss the truck with him?
I don't exactly remember the date on that day.
What was the date?
I believe it was the beginning of August.
You believe it was the beginning of August? You have a police report?
I
is
do.
not an answer.
Let me pull that up so you get that information. It was the beginning of September. I'm sorry.
There's no police report, Your Honor.
What?
I never saw a police report. No.
I'd like to see it.
It was the beginning of September.
I'd like to see it.
It's an incident report.
Shh.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was when you took the truck.
It's not the fight.
So it was the beginning of August. Yes.
Can I have the date, please?
That's when he took the truck. I don't have a police report when he attacked me.
You don't?
No, I don't.
What was the date?
That was the beginning of August.
The beginning of August is not a date.
August 2nd, roughly.
Okay. Well, this emergency room treatment is in July.
That's right.
Okay. You owe him $1,400. You have your truck back. So you owe him $1,400 from the initial truck sale. I'm making a ruling now. I'm done with you. Now, you have a counterclaim. The other part of your counterclaim has to do with toll charges that he accumulated that you must have paid for because it was your truck while he was in possession of the truck. He was in possession of the truck until what month and year?
Oh, let's see. He was in possession of the truck from
August
7/15. That's the day we both went to DMV and we both made the trades for the vehicles.
7 of 2015.
15, yes.
Until what date?
Until now. Yeah, well, no, he doesn't have the possession. That day was right
you
here.
You have possession of your own.
It was 8:24.
8:24.
Yes.
Is when you got it back.
Yes.
From 7:15 to 8:24. May I see the? Shh.
Yeah.
I just want to see the notices that you got of tickets from July 15th to August 24th.
Are the tickets you want to see?
Yes, the tickets.
I have
That's it.
I could. Those are the tickets in that envelope.
I don't care about this. I just want to see the tickets.
I have something to show you too, Your Honor.
About the tickets?
I have more tickets that were given to me. I have like 5 or 6 here from going across the bridge.
Just a second. The date was July 25th, and the toll was $7.25. $7.25. And that's when you had possession of the car. And I don't know what this is. I have no idea.
That shows the date that he went down to put a stop on the registration hold. And that also shows the date.
I don't care.
Oh, okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
my whole house like shook. So I opened the door, I see Mr. Ratcliffe look like he was passed out. I don't know if he was dead or not, so I'm like, dude, you didn't mess my car up.
Okay. You want to say anything to me?
I'm scared of you, Con.
Be scared.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Adrian Dorenzi says former friend Michael Robertson owes for a truck, medical bills, and an assault. Michael is countersuing for toll charges and for his damages resulting from their fight.
All I asked you for was tickets.
Okay.
Which I have, $7.25.
There's more, but...
Just a second. Just show me.
Okay. Well, those are the ones that I have proof on, and then I got the credit card I used with fees on them.
Listen, show me a canceled check with regard to those tickets.
Canceled? Okay. I'm looking for them. Hold on. I can't find them.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff on his claim in the amount of $1,400 on the counterclaim. Mr. Robinson is awarded $7.25. Thank you. We're done.
But there's more. There's more. I have rich.
We are done.
Excuse me.
Wow.
Step out.
The guy's twice my size. Why would I didn't go to his front yard.
He had no license. He was driving around getting tickets in my name.
He came to mine, and he came here telling me he was going to take my truck back.
And he owed me $900, so I took the truck back.
Which is in my name, and and then he taxed me.
I felt like I had to defend myself.
Because I'm like, no, you're not.
He got smashed.
He's a con artist. That's all I can say.
He's a dirtbag.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Drake versus Radcliffe. Step forward.
Willie Drake is suing his former friend, Christopher Radcliffe, for crashing into his car while it was parked in his driveway.
Mr. Drake, how long do you know Mr. Radcliffe?
I say for about good 10 or 12 years.
You know him from school?
No, I have kids by his cousin.
So you're really related through your children?
Correct.
So there's no question you know what he looks like, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, I'm going to July of this year. Something happened with your car.
Yes, ma'am.
You want to tell me what time it happened with your car?
It was approximately 7:15 to 7:30 in the morning.
And where was your car?
Parked in the driveway.
At your home?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what happened.
Well, that morning I actually dropped my wife off at work. I came back home to get ready for myself for work. And so as I'm getting ready for work, I hear a loud screech. Then I hear a boom. Then my whole house shook. Like an earthquake or something hit it. So I come outside the door. It took me 2-3 seconds to get out to the door. I open the door. I see Mr. Ratcliffe look like he was passed out.
Where was he?
Directly inside his car, but linked over. I don't know if he was dead or not. So I'm like, dude, you didn't mess my car up. As I yelled it out to him. That's when he awoke in himself and put the car in reverse and peeled off real quick. Real quick.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Were you given a citation by the police?
Yes.
For what?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Willie Drake says former friend Christopher Radcliffe crashed into his car while it was parked in his driveway. Christopher claims he
damaged?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at them. This red car is your car?
Yes, ma'am.
And whose car is this car?
That's the car Mr. Radcliffe was driving.
When were you able to take this picture?
15 minutes later, because the police actually caught the car coming back towards my house while they were taking my statement of what happened.
And at the time the police came back with the car, did they create a report that indicated who was driving?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
May I see it, please? How far away from where you live does Mr. Radcliffe live?
I mean, where he stays now, he stays with my sister. He has kids by my sister.
And so where does she live?
In Fort Heights, Illinois.
How far away is that from your house?
Like 2-3 miles.
And who was it in the car, Mr. Radcliffe, that was driving the car back to his house?
Miss Judge Judy, I don't know what he's talking about. I wasn't even driving the car.
No, I'm not asking you who was driving the car at the time of the accident. But I'm saying to you, who was the woman who was driving back? Do you know?
No, all I know is the woman is the sister-in-law. She's the one that actually took the police to the house where the defender was at. And she, like she stated, she didn't even know the car had front end damage. She just going to get her hair done.
Was this her car or his car?
She said it wasn't even her car. It was a cousin that left it.
I don't know about that. Mr. Radcliffe, were you given a citation by the police?
Yes.
Were you given a citation by the police?
Yes, ma'am.
For what?
Fleeing and eluding the scene.
Fleeing the scene of an accident.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. And has that case been heard yet?
Yes, that case been...
The answer to that question is either yes or no. Has the case been heard yet?
Yes.
When was that case heard?
Like a month ago.
Did you appear?
Yes.
Did you plead guilty?
Yes.
Now, there was a judge there just like me, probably not as good looking. But that judge said to you, are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? And the judge would not have taken your plea unless you said, yes, I'm pleading guilty because I am guilty. What?
Actually, he didn't plead guilty. I dropped the charges because my sister asked me to.
He just said he pled guilty.
He dropped the charges.
It was dismissed.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by Want Justice? Us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, this car, I assume, had no insurance. Is that correct?
Yeah, the one he was driving, yes.
Had no insurance?
No.
Of course not. Can I see the estimate to fix the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to say anything to me?
I'm scared of you, kind of.
You're scared. Did you fix the car?
Yeah, it eventually got fixed.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all. That's the court's maximum.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Leo the dog, he ran up and then he bit me.
But did he deserve it?
Wild poked fingers in dogs' eyes, pulled tails, and harassed the dogs.
Next Judge Judy.
Hey, I think it was fair. You know, like I say, the man hit my car.
It wasn't me. I never crashed a man's car. You know what I'm saying? I haven't drove in 12 years.
It is what it is. We took it to the law here and the law prevailed.
You know, he just fabricated this story real quick and bam, he just won the case. You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, my wife ain't finna believe this. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
For some reason, he believed that was me. It was too early in the morning.
Hey, how I'm gonna fix it? You know, she's pregnant at the moment with him. By him. So
I just hope everything. Look, he got his car fixed.
She asked me to drop the charges. I don't want to see the man in jail for nothing.
Yeah, everything good. So that's it.
And he got to be there to help the baby. So
nothing else to talk about. Nothing else.
I think I know for sure that he was intoxicated.
Oh, that was something that was barbecue and Bill. That ain't got nothing to do with this.
Stop drinking and drive. Basically.
You know, I could drink at home.
Or you end up in court.
We're different. Finding fault takes a sharp eye.
This is where the accident happened, is that right?
You can tell by the skid marks.
I was legally allowed to be merging into that lane to make a right-hand turn.
So it's your responsibility to see whether the coast is clear.
The judge calls it like she sees it.
Your view was partially obstructed by the truck, just as hers was.
But that...
But.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Heath Barron is suing fellow motorist Lacey Tyler for an accident on the road. Lacey says Heath made a left turn in front of...
All rise. It's case number 351 on the calendar in the matter of Barron versus Tyler.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
A year and a half ago, Mr. Barron, you were involved in an accident with Miss Tyler, which you claim was solely her fault.
Yes, ma'am.
And I assume both cars were substantially damaged. Unfortunately, the insurance company determined that each of you was at fault 50%, and you only got 50% of your car fixed.
Yes, sir. Ma'am.
In addition, you were injured, and you didn't have any medical coverage, I assume, at the time of the accident. Is that also correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Tyler says, well, the insurance company determined that 50% of the responsibility for the accident was yours, and it's not her fault that you don't have appropriate insurance. She did. Is that your defense?
Yes.
Well, and Ms. Tyler, let me start with you. This incident happened over a year ago, May 24th, 2014. Tell me where you were going and what time the accident happened.
I was going down SoCal Avenue to make a right turn onto 17th. It was approximately 4:30 p.m., and I was merging...
Why don't you go over there and show me your route? Pronounce the name of that street.
SoCal Avenue?
SoCal Avenue. Show me where you were. From the beginning lane.
Yes.
Show me where you were.
Driving down here, I believe I merged into this lane later. I don't believe I merged here. I believe I merged closer to the driveway entrance here.
So
I was probably merging in right here.
At the time the plaintiff's car, who was making a left turn, hit your car, it looks to me as if you were straddling the white line. That's either a yes or a no.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And the people who were making a right turn were in which lane?
Where I was.
No, you weren't in the right lane. You
no,
were
the right lane begins up there, right?
Right. So
it was the bike lane, which is where these cars are parked.
So those are parked cars?
Yes.
So the cars that are to the right of you are parked, not moving.
Yes.
I see. So you couldn't make your right-hand turn. You had to go around those cars.
Yes.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, but I believe that I merged... Like, I don't believe that I could fit in between this lane of cars and this lane of parked cars. So I believe I merged into this lane.
Further up.
Further up. And he hit me directly in the middle of the driveway of the dispensary he was turning into.
Because that's where he was turning in.
Right.
Okay.
But I was legally within 200 feet of the intersection, so I was legally allowed to be merging into that lane to make a right-hand turn.
Okay. And clearly, Mr., it's your responsibility to look to see whether the coast is clear.
Absolutely. Except that that's not a lane. There's only one oncoming lane. They were letting me make the turn. She squeezed into something that wasn't a lane. I have not only photo, but I also brought video evidence. And the photos will show that how far off the line she was. She left a skid mark.
I would like to see that, and I would love to see the video.
Absolutely.
So what you're saying is you cleared the oncoming traffic because the oncoming traffic gave you plenty of time to make your left turn.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
And
that since she was illegally going around the other cars, you did not anticipate her being there.
Not only that, Your Honor, but at the speed she was going, which you can see on the video, it doesn't even appear that she stopped.
I'd love to see it. I'm looking at the pictures. Officer Byrd, this is your car or hers?
That is my car, Your Honor.
Well, that's a pretty banged-up looking car. You have any pictures of you being banged up?
No, I was the one holding the camera, Your Honor.
Okay. Miss Tyler.
Yes.
This is the lane that you were coming down.
Yes.
And this is where you wanted to make a right turn, somewhere down here.
Yes.
So these were parked cars. There were no cars in front of you here, of where you were, and went around here to keep going straight in order to make a right turn. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, I was merging into the right turning lane.
Right turn lane, but there were parked cars there, and then it looks as if there's a specific turn for right turn lanes.
Yes.
Up here.
Yes.
Right? And in the middle here is a bike lane, but that's not back here. That's not where the accident was.
I do have photos that show that it is a bike lane, in fact, before that.
Well, it doesn't show it in this photograph. You mean this photograph was doctored?
Oh, no, further up the road.
Further up the road, there is an all-bike lane.
Yes.
But this is not where the accident happened.
But behind that also, this is behind that. The bike lane ends and then goes into the middle of the road further up at the intersection.
Well, it may be, but this is not where the accident happened. Where the accident happened was not a bike lane. This is where the accident happened, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor. You can tell by the skid marks.
Yeah, got it. Okay, I'd like to see the video.
So you can see...
Why don't you go up there and...
Absolutely, Your Honor. So it's from two different angles of the building. And this is one of them where you can actually see the impact. On the other video, you can see how she doesn't even appear through there. On the police report, the CHP officer determined she was at fault, not only because she wasn't driving in a lane, but also because of the speed she was going.
I'd like to see the police report.
Yes, ma'am.
CHP officer was on the motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am.
VC section violated 22350. Did you get a ticket?
No.
Did you get a ticket?
Yeah, for window tinting.
For window tinting?
Yes, ma'am. I guess the shade of tinting on my car windows aren't legal, but the officer still said that had nothing to do with the accident.
Don't tell me what the officer said. Okay, so in substance, the police officer found that you were going too fast, and that when traffic is stopped, and there was stopped traffic, because he says that a truck stopped in the moving lane. Is that right?
According to me and the video, Your Honor.
Just a second. I'm going to play the video again. I want to take a look at the truck.
No problem.
Berg, would you play that video again for me? I don't see the truck.
The truck is... No, the truck is this truck right here. That's the car that's making me... You can see that traffic opens up.
So it's not an 18-wheeler truck?
No, it's not an 18, but it is tall enough that she couldn't have seen around it or the car behind it when going into the lane, Your Honor.
And you couldn't have either.
True, but it wasn't...
Just a second. Back here. And you couldn't have either, which is why I wanted to see the truck. If it was big enough, you see, you say a little too much, it's not a good thing, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because despite the fact that the police officer said that she was going too fast, which she may have been, I was always taught that when you're making a left-hand turn and you don't have a light, there is no light there. You have to be able to feel comfortable that you have clearance in order to do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, according to what you said to the police officer, a truck had stopped in order to let you go.
Yes, ma'am.
But when you made your left turn, your view was partially obstructed by the truck, just as hers was.
But that...
But you're making the left turn. She has a totally clear path to the right.
It's not a lane, Your Honor.
She had a... Oh, yes. She had a totally clear path to the right because that's where she was going to make her right turn. Problem was there were a whole bunch of parked cars over there. She had a free lane to go to make her right turn.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're making the left turn. Now I would like to see what the insurance companies had to say. Can I see?
I don't have the litigation.
Well, you must have gotten a letter from them that said we find that you're 50% responsible.
I didn't, actually. They told me over the phone, Your Honor.
I have a copy of it if you...
May I see it, please? Well, that's what it says. It says that they find each of you responsible because they said the supplied evidence and contention show that Western was 50% negligent for making an unsafe turn, and Ameriprise, that's you, was negligent for improper lane use. The police faulted Ameriprise, that's you, though Western had the greater duty of care as the turning vehicle. Well, that's what I said.
Yes, Your Honor.
And her insurance cites the bicycle lane statute, but the scene photo shows that though the curb may incorporate a bike lane, it is clearly not exclusively a bicycle lane, as it appears primarily to be a parking lane. I absolutely agree with them. I think you have a duty of care when you're making a left turn. And that duty of care is when there is no light, you have an obligation to insure. And because the truck gave you license to go doesn't mean that going around the truck and trying to take a look going slowly, going around the truck, and you weren't going slowly, may have been impeded by your dark tinted windows in the front. I don't know.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
You know, I forgot what these cars looked like. When they first came out, they were all the rage. So what sparked the fascination with DeLorean?
I was a Back to the Future fan as a child.
That's a substantial hobby.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Heath Barron says fellow motorist Lacey Tyler broke the law when she ran into him on the road. Lacey says it was Heath who broke the law when he made a left turn in front of her.
Now, I think that you're 50% responsible, so you take care of your own 50%. Did you take care of 50%?
Yes.
Did you fix your car?
Yes. Well, I got a new car. It was total loss. Yeah.
It was total. What about your car?
Got it back after 2 weeks.
Okay. So you had your car fixed?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have collision?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What was your deductible?
I haven't paid it yet because they've been waiting for their insurance company to take responsibility, so it's been in this limbo.
Well, so who paid for it?
It hasn't been paid yet, Your Honor.
Do you have your car back?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, how did somebody give you your
car and all the other evidence that there was, they let me take it.
Good. You give me what's the name of your insurance company?
AAA Auto.
Great. Thank you. We're done here.
Is our excuse? You may step out.
She got out and started telling me how I caused the accident.
He stepped out of his car and started screaming at me that it was my fault and how could I be so stupid.
She cited the fact that that was a lane when it wasn't a lane, so.
I disagree. It was actually a bike lane which I was legally allowed to merge into.
Yeah, drive safe.
Be careful because anyone will take you to court for anything that they wish.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Rice versus Carson. Step forward.
Jason Rice is suing Kylie Carson for scratching his DeLorean when she crashed a scooter.
I don't know why we need a sign or a diagram, because when I read this, there doesn't seem to be an issue as to whether or not, Miss Carson, you were riding a motorized scooter, Mr. Rice's car, which was a show car, a 1983 DeLorean. He was showing it. I assume it was in a parking lot where other people were showing their cars. And you went into his car?
It was in the grass. It was a grassy field that the car was parked in.
And
yes, I was riding the motorized scooter. And
I don't care what happened. You were riding a motorized scooter. You had a drink. I don't care what the reason was. You went into his car.
Yes, I did. Yes, ma'am.
And that's what he's suing for. So what do I need this for?
I don't know. I didn't bring it.
It's not important. Not important, because there's no issue as to liability. You are liable for any damage that was done as a result of your negligence, which was clear, right? Well, just give me the date that this happened so I can do it in a relatively orderly fashion.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now that I got rid of it, I don't have to look at that silly diagram. Go ahead.
It was September 2nd. The car was there approximately 5:30 p.m.
Okay. How long have you had the car?
I've had the car about a year and a half.
Who did you buy it from?
I bought it from a gentleman up in New Jersey.
Why?
I've always had a DeLorean hobby. I've had a few DeLoreans, and it's just always been my dream car, so that's why I have it.
That's just sort of an oddball, right?
It is.
It is. How much did you pay for it?
The car is valued at around $42,000.
Now, what did you pay for it?
I really don't want to say how much I paid for it. Is that, do I need to?
It goes to part of the damage.
Car, I paid $24,000.
That's a substantial hobby.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When I came out to see the car, there was a crowd of people. Miss Carson was standing there. She was upset. She was obviously intoxicated.
What had you been doing that afternoon?
We went to Moe's Barbecue. We were eating, and I did have one drink. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
Judge Judy. Jason Rice says Kylie Carson owes for scratching his DeLorean when she crashed a scooter.
Can you show me the damage that Miss Carson did on her motorized scooter when she hit your car?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it.
I have photographs here. I have photos of the car before, and the ones in the back are after.
Great. You know, I forgot what these cars looked like. When they first came out, they were all the rage. Mm-hmm. What made you, because in what year were you born?
That car's 1 year older than me. I was born in '84.
Right, I figured. So what sparked, just for my own information, the fascination with DeLorean?
I was a Back to the Future fan as a child. Still am.
And those doors, I remember those doors. I mean, it certainly wasn't for somebody like me. I remember trying to get in, and I swung the door open, and I sort of went up with the door. Okay. You want to take a look at these pictures?
Yeah, I haven't seen them.
Okay. And the car was in pristine condition before.
Yes, ma'am, it was.
No, I see it.
Wait, so these are the after?
Yes.
Okay, I don't remember it looking this extensive that night. So, well,
I'm just showing it to you.
Your Honor, may
Okay,
sure.
I was a witness, Mass, but when I speak...
Who are you?
I'm her boyfriend. I was a witness that was there that night.
Sure.
Johnny, stand up.
Yeah, you do.
Well, when the accident occurred and he came over to see the damages, he came over and looked at the car and examined it and looked at it and said, "Oh, that's no big deal at all. Don't worry about it. I was already planning on getting the bumper fixed anyways," and left and went back to the bar.
Told us
there was no big deal and left. And then 30 to 45 minutes later, because she gave her card, her insurance card, we were willing
Well,
to stay.
just a second.
My business card.
Yes.
So he didn't say, no big deal. He said, I want your insurance card.
No. She volunteered. She gave her the car.
Perfect.
His card, yeah.
Business card.
Just a second.
Okay, well, business card. I didn't know
business
which
card or what? Listen,
Yeah.
whatever way to get in touch with her.
Yeah.
So it wasn't being dismissed as, oh, it's nothing, go on your way.
That's what he said.
Sit down.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to Judge Judy and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, you have an estimate to fix the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I see it, please? Whose scooter were you riding, Miss Carson?
The guy would never tell me his name. He was at the car show, and I said, I like your scooter. That's cool. Would you give me a ride on it? And he was like, you can drive it. And so I was like, okay. And so after this incident happened, he came over and got it and left the scene.
Your Honor, when I came out to see the car, I got a phone call from Ryan, the car show official. He told me there'd been damage done to the car, that I needed to come out and see it. I hadn't been in the restaurant maybe 15 minutes. I came out. There was a crowd of people. Miss Carson was standing there. She was upset. She was obviously intoxicated. And what I did say was that there was a gentleman standing there in the crowd who said, you could probably buff out some of those scratches. And I said, well, I was probably going to buff that bumper, that front bumper anyway. Maybe I can get some of it out myself. I did not realize that she had put a crack in the side of the car.
Listen to me. You got an estimate. It's not a blown-up estimate. It's for $813. And it's a classic car that you just bought and paid $24,000 for. What had you been doing that afternoon? What had you been doing that afternoon?
Barbecue. We were eating.
You were eating at a barbecue?
Yes. And I did have one drink. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. $813. Thank you very much. Judge me for the point.
A moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
My dog is on the floor shaking. He goes, oh, he fell off the sofa. If I would have known that he was abusive to animals, she told me he threw a cat out the window and it died.
Next Judge Judy.
Oh, I think she was fair. I think it was common sense. If you hit someone's car, you're expected to pay for it. It's a no-brainer.
When we were there, we both examined the damage, and he said it was no big deal.
Once I got out there and I realized that luckily she didn't hit the stainless steel body of the car. She just hit the front bumper, which is plastic.
So he told us to leave, and then it was like 45 minutes later.
So that's when I said, it wasn't that big of a deal. It could have been a lot worse because you can't get those kind of fenders anymore.
When he came back and said it was a big deal.
I'm just trying to get my car fixed so I can get back to 1985.
And I never saw a gash in the car. I looked at it.
I wish I could. Luckily, she didn't damage the time circuits for the flux capacitor.
So I just thought he was trying to get more money.
That would have been very expensive to fix.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's over with. I didn't even think we needed to come to court in the first place.
I wish I could go back to the future. I want to get back.
Because I was going to pay for the damages that were my fault.
A children's play date.
You agreed to be in charge.
My dog is on the floor shaking. I asked Anthony, I go, what happened to my dog? He goes, oh, he fell off the sofa.
Your son almost killed my dog. He really did kick him in the head.
Is there a disturbing pattern?
If I would have known that he was abusive to animals, she told me he threw a cat out the window and it died.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Trinette Arroyo is suing her neighbor, Mary Piterney, for vet bills and punitive damages after Mary's 9-year-old son, Anthony, kicked her dog in the head.
Order. All rise.
case number 345 on the calendar in the matter of Arroyo versus Pitt Herney.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Mr. Arroyo, the defendant is your neighbor, is that right?
She's my friend's neighbor.
How far does she live from you?
A block away.
What was her son, I assume this little boy, doing at your house on September the 5th?
Mary came to my home and I didn't know she was coming over. She just came unannounced with her son. She came in. We talked for a little bit. She left her son. She went home to go.
Sound right to me at all. You mean she walked in?
She came in.
Just as she walked in, she's not your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
She's your friend's neighbor, is what you said. So she came to your house unannounced, dropped off her child without discussing with you, and left. Is that what you want me to believe happened?
Me.
Is that what I want? Yes. If that's what you want me to believe happened, I'm telling you I don't believe that. It doesn't ring true to me. You want to start again?
Sure.
September 5th. Let's start again. Go.
She was at the pool, which is across the street from where I live in the park, and she texted me asking if I was back from Florida. So that's when she just came. I didn't know she was coming over.
Did you answer her text?
After that, no.
So she said, are you back from Florida? You ignored the text. Is that right? Let's start with you. September 5th. Go ahead.
September 5th, I had known she was coming back from vacation because I had asked because my son was excited to see her and her daughter back, and he wanted to see them, and she said I couldn't come over.
How did you communicate with her?
Text message.
Okay, so she answered your text message.
Yes.
And she said she was home?
Yes.
Do you have that text message with you?
My phone was stolen.
Well, I hear that a lot.
Yes.
Your Honor,
Do you
I have
the text message?
Yes.
I'd like to. Okay, so September 5th, were you at home yet? That was 10:26. The response to that was 10:27 from you that said this weekend last for pool, right? Is that your text message to her? And she says, I'm at the pool now, Monday last day. I don't know what that means. Aunt is running to our house, IML. As soon as I told him you are back, he ran here. Is he being good, I hope? That's at 1:36. So the beginning messages are at 10:54. At 1:36, she says, is he being good? And then she says again, you're home?
She asked if I was home.
And then on the 6th, said, your son almost killed my dog. He really did kick him in the head. What's going to happen now? Waiting on a neurologist. I called you a few times. The bill came out to be $375. Pray that my dog gets better. Give me a call when you get a moment. I'm praying. Let me know how the puppy is. Okay, so what happened was you agreed. Your old son is now your responsibility. Was your child home?
Yes.
So they were playing together?
They were playing.
How old is your child?
4 years old.
So he was playing with your 4-year-old, right? What were you doing when he was playing with the 4-year-old?
I was in the living room with them.
All the time?
Yes. Throughout the whole time.
Well, then what happened to your dog? Because that's why we're here.
What happened was...
You say the dog was injured. He injured the dog. How could that happen if you were watching your 4-year-old and the 9-year-old all the time in the living room?
What happened is my daughter asked to do potty because she doesn't use the restroom by herself. So she asked, Mom, I have to use the restroom. I take her. It was less than a minute. It was a few seconds. He screams and he says the dog peed on himself. So I said, it's okay. When I get there, I'll clean it up. So and then when I get to the living room, my dog is on the floor shaking. And I asked Anthony, I go, what happened to my dog? You know, what did you do? What's wrong? He goes, oh, he fell off the sofa, which I knew was wrong because he knows how to jump up and jump off. So I knew something wasn't right. I kept asking him, what did you do to my dog? And he just kept saying he fell off the sofa.
Okay.
So at the moment, I'm hysterical, crying. I call the mom, Mary, to let her know what happened. And
well, what did you do with Anthony?
I just kept asking what happened, but he
you asked what happened, but now you have a 9-year-old who's a block away.
Do anything. I just kept asking him what happened to the dog.
Did you take him home? Did he go home himself? Did his mother come and get him?
I called his mom right away, and she came.
And she came to get him?
She came to my apartment.
So you have an apartment? Do you have an apartment also? So you both live in apartments, so he doesn't travel back and forth by himself, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I got it. Anthony, Is your name Anthony?
Yes.
Come up here. Anthony, you remember going to visit Mrs. Arroyo and her daughter?
Yes.
When you were there, you were playing with her daughter?
Yes.
In what room were you playing with her daughter?
In the living room.
And where was Mrs. Arroyo?
In the bathroom with her daughter.
How long was she in the bathroom with her daughter?
In a second.
No. I don't want you to tell me what you've been planning to tell me. I'm not going to ask you the questions that you've been thinking I'm going to ask you, Anthony. I'm going to ask you the questions that I want to ask you, and I want you to think about September 5th and tell me, because I have a reason for asking you the questions. Do you understand?
Yes.
Fine. When you got to Mrs. Arroyo's house, were you playing with her daughter?
Yes.
In what room?
The living room.
And where was Mrs. I see that I'm not going to get anywhere. She wasn't in the bathroom with her daughter all the time you were in the living room, because you were there for a while. Do you know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
You were there for more than a minute. So I want to know, how long were you there before Mrs. Arroyo took her daughter to the bathroom?
He took her, I picked the dog up. He kept following me. And he kept kissing me, and he fell off the couch.
What time did you bring your son over there?
Probably 12, 11 about.
And this incident happened a couple of hours later.
Yes.
I want to know what you were all doing for that 2-hour period.
I was in the living room with them. They were playing, watching cartoons. I was there the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Well, Miss Arroyo, he's your responsibility when he's at your house.
Definitely.
If anything happens to him, if anything happens to anything in your house, you assume the responsibility of taking care of Anthony when you agreed to accept him into your house. Now, that may have been for a lot of reasons, including the fact he was excited and probably that he's helpful because he probably plays with her and she probably likes that, so it gives you a little bit of a breather, because that's a little older when you have a toddler, because after a while you don't want to answer another question. So you bring in somebody that's a little older that says, they answer questions, and it's a nice thing that happens. In any event, he's your responsibility. And whether what happened to your dog was an accident or whether while he was not supervised, he hurt your dog, that's not her responsibility. That's your responsibility.
Your Honor, I just went to the restroom and it was only a few seconds. I didn't know he would abuse animals.
I did.
She told me that he threw a cat out the window. If I would have known that he was abusive to animals, I would have never left my puppy alone with him.
When did she tell you that?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When we went to the vet, she told me he threw a cat out the window and it died.
When did that happen?
3 years ago, but he did not kill the cat.
And later today.
Did you have a bedroom?
Yes.
Your own?
Yes.
Did you have a bathroom?
No, we all shared a bathroom.
Who did you share a bathroom with?
Everyone. We all share a bathroom.
How many people?
7.
That's an awful lot of rent.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Trinette Arroyo says her neighbor's son, 9-year-old Anthony Pitterney, kicked her dog in the head. She is suing.
When we went to the vet, she told me he threw a cat out the window and it died.
When did that happen? Just when did that happen?
3 years ago, but he did not kill the cat.
It's relevant, but if it was important enough for you to remember to tell the plaintiff the time you went to the vet, you had a concern. Had you ever had Anthony in your house without his mother before?
Once before.
Can I see the vet report, please?
Sure.
Thank you. You see, Ms. Pitterney, if you had information that you did not share with her about a predisposition that your son had with regard to animals, then you're responsible. Because if she had no knowledge, and you had no knowledge of any predisposition with regard to animal cruelty, then she's responsible for him because you put her in charge of a minor. But if you had information about your son that you didn't share with her and you clearly knew she had a dog, then these bills are going to be yours if I find evidence that the dog was intentionally hurt. Okay, now I'll take a look at the vet bill.
Oh, this is the...
Do you have pets in your house? What do you have?
2 pit bulls, and 3 cats. It was an accident.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $375.86. Thank you very much. That's all.
Excuse me, step out.
It was horrible for me to see my animal on the floor shaking.
He didn't intentionally hurt it.
She asked him what happened over and over because he didn't want to tell me. But eventually he told her that he kicked the dog.
He's just used to bigger animals.
If I would have known beforehand, I would have known better.
Keep my son to myself so no one else could complain about him.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of McCoy versus McCoy. Step forward.
Regina and Thad McCoy are suing their son, 21-year-old Christopher McCoy, for damaging their home and breaking the windshield of Regina's car.
Mr. and Mrs. McCoy, this is your son. You have 2 claims against him, and I actually am only interested in one. And that involves the incident that occurred in, you don't actually name the month and year, probably in February of 2015. There was an incident that involved damage to your car.
That was actually July, ma'am.
That was in July.
Yeah, he moved in with us in February.
But this incident with your car was in July.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. That's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the fact that you let him move in with his girlfriend, whatever. They had a kerfuffle. By the time they moved out, they left the place a pigsty, their room. In July, when you alleged that your son intentionally damaged the windshield of your car. So why don't you tell me what happened? When was it? July what?
July 26th, I believe. He got upset, which is common with him. So my son Caleb has high anxiety. And Christopher was running around the house screaming and cussing. And
what were you angry about?
We were in a dispute about the cost of rent I should be paying. She was raising it on me.
Okay, so you were having a discussion with your mother/landlord about your rent.
Yeah.
Okay, how much rent had you been paying?
$300 a month, $150 biweekly.
And how much did she want to raise your rent?
Another $150, I believe, at the time.
A month or biweekly?
A month.
So you were paying $300 a month. She wanted you to pay $450 a month.
Yes, Your Honor.
And is that what the argument was about?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Caleb was getting very anxious, so I just wanted to get him out of the house. And by the time we got outside, Christopher was already outside. But I told Caleb, go ahead and get in the car. Before I could get in the car, Christopher put his face...
Just a second. If you were trying to get away from him, but he was already out of the house, why were you going outside?
To get in the car to leave the house, to give him time to cool off and get Caleb away from him.
Okay.
So get in the car. Christopher stuck his head in Caleb's side of the window and was in his face screaming at him over and over and over. And I told him to get his face out of the car, and he refused. So I just backed up to get away from him. And then he threw something white, which went directly to the ground. And then before I could get out, he threw this water bottle and shattered our windshield.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
They lived with us for approximately 2 or 3 months before Jolie got her job at IHOP. I didn't charge her back rent.
Is that correct, that you didn't pay rent for the first few months until you got a job with IHOP?
No, but they didn't ask for it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Regina and Thad McCoy say their son, Christopher, damaged their home and car while he lived with them.
Go ahead. I went ahead and just left, give him time to calm down, went and picked up my husband. And then when we came home, he was still upset and just doing asinine things, like he went and kept unplugging the TV and opening the front door. So I said I had enough, and I called the police and had him arrested.
Okay, do you have a copy of the police report?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to see it, please. Okay, tell me what happened.
Okay, well, I went outside to go smoke a cigarette when she was going to leave. My little brother got in the car, and when I stuck my head through the window, I was reaching in to grab my cigarettes, at which point she backed over my foot. And as a reaction, I just gotten off work. I had that bottle in my hand. I was tapping the windshield, trying to notify her she was on my foot. And I was, like, yelling, at which point, and in the process, I broke the windshield.
What were you yelling at?
Not sure. I can be a bit unruly when I get upset at sometimes rather profane.
Why?
Not sure, Your Honor. Just how I reacted.
Is this your girlfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
Does he ever get that way with you?
No.
No.
How long have you been together?
Since January 7th.
Of this year? Mm-hmm. My question to you is, has he ever lost his temper with you?
No.
No. Were you at home on the 26th of July?
It was the 21st, and I went for a walk when this was happening because...
Why did you go for a walk?
Because there was a fight, so I grabbed a bag and left.
So what was the fight about?
Raising rent. I was paying rent when we first bi-weekly. When he got a job, they wanted the same amount from him, so they wanted, I believe, $600 a month.
And tell me what kind of accommodations you had at their house. Did you have a bedroom?
Yes.
Your own?
Yes.
Did you have a bathroom?
No, we all shared a bathroom. We got our own food, except for dinner. We would eat dinner as a family because they invited us to.
And who did you share a bathroom with?
Everyone. We all share a bathroom.
One bathroom?
Mm-hmm.
How many people?
7.
Well,
6.
That's an awful lot of rent. Is that correct, that you wanted to raise their rent to $600?
We actually have 2 bathrooms. And
I'm just asking you, is that correct that you wanted to raise the rent? I'm just curious, to $600 a month,
No, ma'am.
$300 each. So
No.
what was the argument about?
They always complained there wasn't not enough food in the house. And I said, fine, we'll lower the rent, you buy your own food. We even bought them a refrigerator for the room to keep their food in. But they were still eating our food. And most of the time they lived with us, they didn't pay rent. They hardly held a job. And they lived with us for approximately 2 or 3 months before Julie got her job at IHOP. I didn't charge her back rent. And then...
Is that right?
When I first showed up to Texas, I had a job as a dog groomer that she had arranged for me, but I didn't get paid.
Is that correct that you didn't pay rent for the first few months until you got a job with...
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Can I see a receipt for the windshield, please?
Honor, can I speak?
Sure.
First of all, when we're talking about if Chris ever landed a hand on her, it has happened right in front of us before, where Chris thinks that she needed to go apologize to her, grabbed her by her neck, pushed her down the floor, and say, you need to say sorry like the dog you are. She's got a dog leash. They go around the block and it says, this is my little puppy dog.
It's not funny.
That doesn't happen.
It's not... Even as a story, it's not funny.
And for
okay, $218 installed was the windshield. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Did students trash an off-campus home?
It's a disgusting pit. So you want another $3,745 in damages.
That's right.
Next, Judge Judy.
Just greedy and lack of communication. Chris Brandon arrested me for a criminal mischief.
I just had enough of him being a tyrant, so I called the police and they came in and arrested him for criminal mischief.
He needed out, so I called my mom and she gave me money and I bailed him out.
I was not going to bail him out.
Well, hopefully we can put it behind us and, still get together as a family and hopefully get along.
I love Christopher. He can never do anything